This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello and welcome back to another Days of Thunder TRL special. Feels like it's been a while. I'm your host Dave Ryan and I'm joined on the other end of the tin cannon string by my good friend Stagger Lee Malone. Lee, how are you?
It's funny you say tin cannon string when you consider the production quality of the show we're about to watch.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is quite appropriate. But yeah, this was something that we had planned for a while, and we were going to go straight to like the post-pay-per-view Thunder, but then I think we said, you know what, little change of pace. The next two episodes on the free feed are going to be the TRLs.
The two remaining TRLs that will be on the free feed.
Yeah, for better or worse. But anyway, look, before we get into all that, how have you been?
I'm good, yeah, in good spirits. Week off work this week.
Yeah.
By the time we're recording again next week, who knows how I'll be feeling, but for now I'm in good spirits.
It's anyone's guess.
How about you, pal? How are you doing? I believe you've had a couple of hard weeks.
Yeah, I kind of went from super chill, being off like week and a half, having all our celebrations and everything like that, to now being right back at the grindstone. 2 straight 6-day weeks, which has not been great, because I usually, like, again, I suppose of men of our vintage, I think that's what, like, we kind of, you know, where we're able to, one of our days off is usually a complete wash, because it's like the catching up on sleep, trying to avoid doing things where at all possible day, and the second day is where you actually get things done, like you go see family, or you know, you go do a thing, and that kind of like recharges the mental batteries. So I didn't really get much of either, having to compress both of those things into one day this week and having to do it again this weekend. But I'll tell you what, at the end of it, I'm meeting a few people I used to work with for a feed of pints, so that's going to be well earned.
That's always enjoyable, so you'll definitely enjoy that, or else fall asleep very early on tonight.
Yeah, today I had the second of 2 straight days of training, and it was one of those where you're stuck inside in basically a classroom under artificial light from like 9:30 to 4:30 straight.
Do you know what? There's nothing worse than going back into artificial light when you haven't been in that environment in a long time.
Do you know what the thing is? It's like, I don't know how I was able to do it when I was in school, and I don't know how kids and teenagers are able to stick it, both in terms of the artificial lighting and in terms of fucking attention span. Lee, my attention span's gone to shit as an adult.
I feel the same, yeah.
Like I was doing pretty well focusing yesterday, and then today there was a morning break of about 5 minutes. They kind of like, there's a half-hour break in the middle of the day, and then they added 2 like 5 to 10 minute breaks either side of that for like the smokers mainly. Yeah. And like after the first one of those breaks, Lee, my head was gone and it didn't come back. Like, and it was one of those where I was able to acknowledge that my attention span was gone, and I was actively trying to bring myself back to the room, back to the topic at hand.
You just couldn't.
And I was saying to you off the air, it was interesting stuff, and it was stuff that I will practically use in my job. But I just couldn't do it. By the end,
were you scribbling your name onto the table, like scratching it in with a...
I was doing doodles. I drew a very nice picture of the Eye of Sauron on the top of one of my notebooks. A few doodles, yeah. And like by the last hour, I had put my work phone up on the table as a decoy and had my personal phone on my lap watching today's Nintendo Direct. So that was just the kind of day it was by the end. But look, I'm here to spend an evening watching some wrestling, so that's gonna hopefully improve my mood somewhat.
Well, I mean, you seem fairly relaxed after it all, so...
Yeah, well, I'm literally now, like, usually we do these shows up on, I'm up in my office, on my office chair, whereas for today's program, I'm literally reclining on my couch. I have moved the studio downstairs, so there's a little slightly different timbre to my recording. That'll be why. Also because, like, Toby the dog is just kind of fucking wandering around behind me. He hasn't settled yet. But no doubt you will hear like a cartoon plonk on the ground and a huff, and that'll be him sorted then. I've made sure.
I have to say, I do miss that about having a dog. That kind of where they're wandering, they're trying to find that spot, and then you just hear the plonk and the huff.
What they've done is, for long-term listeners of both our podcast and my other podcast, Link to the Cast, I have made sure to lock the door that separates him from his squeaky toy basket, because there have been several occasions where I had to mute myself or haven't quite been able to mute myself on time for a loud squeak of a Christmas pudding. But we should be good.
That's right, Days of Thunder listeners. It's that time again. If you have an appetite like the corn-fed meathead Skip Sheffield, you're going to want to listen into this, because we got to talk about our friends at HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Choose from 55 plus weekly options featuring pre-portioned, high-quality ingredients picked at peak ripeness. HelloFresh delivers fresh, quality produce from the farm to your door in less than a week, so you can savor summer flavors right from home. Select meals from the Taste of Summer series that are sure to become everyone's new favorites, like the Old Bay shrimp and sausage boil and family-style grilled steak lettuce wraps. Holy hell. To avail of the offer that's being made to you, the Days of Thunder listener, all you gotta do is go to hellofresh.com/VOW16 and use the code VOW16 for up to 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. One more time, that's hellofresh.com/VOW16 and use the code VOW16 at checkout to avail of that offer. And if that doesn't sate your appetite, I just don't know what will. It's HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Back to the show.
But anyway, let's get on to this. This is our second last TRL of season 1, Lee, and it is the second in a series of unintentional series of 1999 ECW pay-per-views. So what was it we did last time?
Was it Living Dangerously? No, it was Living Dangerously, wasn't it?
Yeah, Living Dangerously.
Yeah, so this is now, we are doing November to Remember. So kind of bookending the year. So we had the beginning of the year and now the end of the year of 1999.
Just to remind everybody how we do this. So this is a live commentary track. So we're going to try and help you guys sync up to the recording, and we'll kind of just let it flow from there. And yes, like the primary intention is that it will be a commentary track, but we also hope that, you know, it will be okay to stand alone as a podcast, or at least we'll make sure it does.
As we always say, we're not going to do play-by-play on what goes on in the ring.
Yeah.
We will have a discussion over the pay-per-view more than anything else.
Yeah. And for those of you who tuned into TRLs before, the relationship that conversation has to what's actually going on in the ring can sometimes be
minimal.
Shall we say, we really shouldn't be criticizing the Thunder commentary team for meandering off the point as much as they do.
You know how people say Dark and Dark Elevation should be like just a podcast? Yeah. That's what this is.
Yeah. Oh man, could you imagine how good Taz would be doing like a TRL?
On an ECW pay-per-view? If Taz didn't have to stick to the point, I mean, you just let him go.
Have we all, by the way, seen that brief clip that's going around online of the somebody clipped the greatest Northern Light suplex bridge of all time by Taz.
No?
I need to check out who it was that I want to give credit and hope that people
Again,
look it up because it's...
I was going to say, I'm no longer terminally online, so I miss a lot of this stuff now.
Okay, so it's on. It looks like it's on Mikey Whipwreck, and it's Robert Ego Anthony tweet it out, and it's just an unbelievable Northern Lights bridge. I have it retweeted in my feed, so you can check it out there. It's just gorgeous. But anyway, yes, we are here. ECW November to Remember 1999. I am going in completely blank on this one, Lee. I have no idea what is about to happen in front of us. Do you have any memories of November to Remember 1999, or are you a blank slate as well?
I'm coming in fairly blank on this one because I just saw the brief description they gave on the network, and I read the main event and the semi-main, and I'm just like, in spite of having seen the show, I don't remember these matches.
Okay. This is November you do not remember. Okay.
Exactly.
So, yes, as Lee said, we're watching the WWE Network version, which is 2 hours, 36 minutes, and 16 seconds. We have it paused right between the 1 to 2 second mark, where the lower third of ECW N2R 99 Flickinger Center in New York has just appeared on the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to count us down and say 3, 2, 1, play, and then we'll get going. I will try and leave the volume up a little bit for a few seconds so that people can try and sync the volume with their own playback. So, are we ready, Lee?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
Okay, right. 3, 2, 1, and play. And so we have Joey and Cyrus in the ring.
It's Cyrus with his third eye. Matt Sydal obviously stealing his gimmicks from the greatest of all time.
Turn that down. It's very, I don't know if you were an X-Men guy growing up, but very Mr. Sinister.
I mean, wasn't an X-Man guy, but I mean, there was the Sinister Minister in ECW.
This is true. Only one specific, maybe Paul, he was a big X-Men guy.
You know, why does Callis have one glove on?
Don't know. Don Callis, one of the rare people that looks better without his hair.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good that the receding hairline finally caught him, because that is a horrible mop of greasy hair.
Maybe he was still waiting for that supermodel to run in WWF.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he has great volume to the hair.
Look at the mullet and the security guard in the background.
Yes, speaking of volume.
That's a man who had that hair under an iron.
Yeah. That is like Fit Finley's mullet wishes it was that guy's mullet.
He has posters of that mullet on its wall.
So, what did you think of the typical ECW start to a pay-per-view of Joey and a person in the ring?
I was a fan of it. It was uniquely ECW at the time. Obviously, a lot of companies would go on to mimic it.
Yeah.
I did like that Lenny Leonard went on to have his own version of it.
Yeah.
Like when he'd do the EC or the ROH shows and then the Evolve shows, Lenny would just do the kind of his own version of the Open. I miss that Joel joke. I don't know what he said.
It was about his balls, Lee, would you believe?
Believe it or not, I would.
I think this is like this format to start a pay-per-view. I'd say it was like a lot less tiresome before the era of like all WWE shows open with a 20-minute promo.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like at the time, WCW pay-per-views, WWF pay-per-views pretty much would start straight away going to the ring.
Yeah. Like, they might not have been wall-to-wall wrestling, but they didn't start with an in-ring promo generally. Is this one of the shows where we get Cyrus versus Gertner?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, hello.
Oh, you mean Leather Daddy?
He's got the leather bum bag.
Yeah.
Jeans with no belt. It's a very 1999 look.
Yeah. The half turned up collar.
Yeah, I was just going to say the popped collar and the leather jacket. So that's Taz that's been in the opening segment of both the ECW pay-per-views we watched. Because, of course, he had the promo to threaten every other champion on Living Dangerously.
Getting you sold out chance. In the truck.
So Taz is mad at Joey for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know what it was always about the sound mix at ECW, where like the first couple of words of every Joey Styles line in the ring, his mic is turned down.
Had to be a rib. So I'm guessing Taz has gone full heel again post losing the title.
Well, he is literally right about to leave.
Yeah. That was actually the thing. I did not remember that he showed up post Anarchy Rules.
Yeah. And of course, he would famously return in 2000 to win the belt back off Mike Awesome.
Yeah, it was like April 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah, because then he showed up on SmackDown with the belt.
Yeah. And Tommy Dreamer, for some reason.
Joel is delighted that Joey's getting served here. There's 4 men in the ring now, right? Mm-hmm. Joel Gertner, Joey Styles, Taz, and Cyrus. And if I told you that in the year 2022, 2 of these men would be pivotal TV presences for a wrestling company, would you have guessed?
You would have got at least one wrong, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You probably would have said Taz.
Yeah, I think most people would have said, yeah, Gertner can get being cancelled.
Yeah.
Cyrus definitely looks like he's going to get cancelled at some stage.
Joey feels like one of those guys that, like, the wrestling fans in their late teens, early 20s will eventually uncover on the network and be like, whoa. Do you remember, like, the whoa, Sabu's cancelled thing a couple of years ago?
I don't know if you've ever heard Joe Lanza's solo audio, but every time he does, like, the ECW shows, he's like, I regret to inform you that Sabu was cancelled. Because he's done so, he says something on a promo, or somebody says something on a promo, And he'd be like, I regret to inform you that X is cancelled. Like Don Morocco will cut some kind of homophobic promo. What a not hot start to a pay-per-view this is.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is going on quite a while.
Who would have thought that 25 minutes of the whole runtime would be Joey Styles and Taz going at it?
Now, that said, would I like to see him suplex Joey Styles around?
Absolutely.
Yes, I would.
Fuck him up, Joey Chance.
Just called him fat shit. Nothing even creative about that. It's like, it's really funny if you watch the crowd. Is like the crowd are like not feeling the segment, but anytime someone swears, they're like, ugh.
Yeah, it's very very late 90s. Ah, poor Joel. I think Taz is going to be rediscovered as a wrestler in the next couple of years, based on new people coming along and kind of seeing him on AEW.
Yeah, seeing Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
AEW's FTW title. I tell you what, if Hook becomes half the promo as that was.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, look, if you could look like Hook and wrestle and talk like Taz, that's...
Well, I mean, we've seen him, he can basically wrestle like him.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, now we finally get the opening credits of the pay-per-view.
I was going to say, there we go, we finally get the backstory to Callis and Taz being friends. The 7th annual ECW November to remember. Again, a reminder that just because something is annual, it's not always good.
No. I do love these opening sequences.
They're brilliant. This is one thing that AEW should absolutely copy.
It's just absolute chaos.
Well, maybe not this part, but...
No.
Oh, that's Lita, by the way.
Yeah, and was it Angelica?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Oh, I can't remember, yeah. Super Crazy. Kid Cash.
I think people like who weren't like watching at the time and weren't necessarily or reading wrestling magazines or early days online will be surprised by some of the people that even late on showed up for a cup of coffee.
I was just going to say, this roster is actually fairly good for how maligned it is at the time. Like, it's still a pretty good roster.
Yeah.
In hindsight, especially. I don't know who the big jacked up oiled up dude is. Dick, of course.
Dick Hurts.
It's Dick Hurts. Oh yeah, it's Simon and his big dick. That's right.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm going to shock you here.
It is a big duck. It is a big dick, to be fair.
This whole gimmick is based on dick jokes. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah. I don't know if you can say. I don't know if you can use the clean cut trope when the man clearly has
A nipple ring.
Yeah. Nipple ring, choker, and like a pair of leather pants 2 sizes too small.
I tell you, the male choker is not a look that age as well.
No. This is the most, like, if you've never seen this act, guys, it's like the most 1999 gay panic innuendo joke.
It's gay panic innuendo stuff. And it's, like, look, it's not good.
But it's almost so unsubtle.
It's so over
funny.
the top, it's funny, yeah.
Like, I don't think it's funny in the way they think it's funny.
They think it's funny because they think it'll get heat for, gay.
They also, I think it's clever. And I find it funny because it very much isn't. So there's Jazz.
Jazz coming out to some kind of in-house hip-hop.
There's some real quality overdubbing from our friends at World Wrestling Entertainment. A sign there that said, "I love Japan."
Well, I'm guessing Don brought Kenny with him.
You want to talk about people who, like, if they had arrived a generation later, would have made a lot of money in wrestling.
Jazz.
Yeah.
So where you put Prime Jazz, you put Prime Jazz in TNA with Kong and
The Knockouts.
Gail Kim.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, like, you know, mid-2010s WWE women, but yeah, that kind of, the in-between, the Knockouts era, yeah. I don't know if you caught the name of that move there.
Is that the
Lee.
female implant?
The penile implant.
Oh, penile. I heard implant. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Little spike. Love me some LSD.
You're well known for it.
It helps that we're the same height. I also go around kicking people in the balls, so, you know.
So, straight in, acid drop.
I love how useless the big guys are in ECW as well. It's like a real trope that they're all shit. Yeah. Except for Sid.
Which is, like, very much true of wrestling. Most big guys are absolutely shit, except for Sid.
Oh, we've got Callis and Osiris and Joey on commentary for the whole show, I'm guessing. I also think it's more fun to go into an ECW show not knowing what you're going to get, because the matches can go any way.
Yeah, and because they have that, and this is something I was going to talk to you about. I don't know if we hit on it on the last ECW show we did. It's like Spike there with like spinning a wheel kick off the apron, but he like spun the opposite direction to what you'd expect, and now he's got a wooden deck chair.
Okay, I don't care where this hits you on the body, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. Do they even make chairs like that anymore?
I'm sure Woody still sell them.
I was going to ask you, what do you feel about like the style of ECW production, where it was like less like segment break segment and more like all segments bleed into one another?
I love. Oh, Simon's busted bad already.
Yeah, speaking of bleeding,
that deck chair actually had to hurt. Yeah, I love that whole style of everything bleeding into one another, because the whole promotion feels melded together. Like everyone, something happening in match 1 has a consequence on the match 5, you know?
it doesn't feel as much like a show.
No, remember when Cody was in AEW and it was like Cody was in his own universe away from everything else that was going on the show?
Yes, the Codyverse.
Yes. Again, that's good and cool for a while.
Yeah.
But I love when everything is interconnected.
Yeah. It's good, like when Arn Anderson is standing outside his house burning things in a rubbish bin and threatening to shoot people.
Shoot people in cars for cutting them off or whatever.
Yeah. One of the things we've really missed out on since Cody left is fucking Lock Anderson.
That's... I'm trying to figure out, was that a hard way cut or did he...
You're saying was that a hard way headbutt to the dick from Spike there?
I mean, it absolutely was. Again, was there...
Spike Dudley's your winner, and that was a fucking fast count.
Was there a more protected finish in ECW than the acid drop?
Oh.
Speaking
Here
of
come the
useless
FBI.
because...
Yeah.
Oh, Nunzio. Oh, awesome looking powerbomb on Spike.
I felt like I was on such an island as a kid that I was a massive Nunzio fan.
Big Sal.
Little Guido was great.
Nova. Oh, fuck's sake. Mr. Talent Relations himself. See, this is cool where the matches just bleed into one another. So now we've got Nova versus Nunzio, Little Guido.
What's great about this is that like you could see the referee switch there.
Yeah. It was John Finnegan for the first one, and now it's what's the uncle's name? He was Sabu's minder. I can't remember his name.
Do you remember, Lee, when you used to be able to tell the difference between referees?
Yeah. Jack Down. Fuck the world.
Yeah. I was only thinking about this recently. About how like I know the names of all the referees in AEW. And that's the first time I've been able to say that about a company in 20 years.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Since the referees feuded at Invasion. Oh
my god. Can I just
is Nunzio busted now?
I think he might be.
There's a lot of wood around ringside for some reason.
There is. Yeah.
It seems like
probably the splinters off that chair.
The barriers are being held into wooden crates for some reason.
Incredibly low rent. Can I recommend an episode of another podcast, because you've just reminded me of it, the Attitude Era podcast episode on the Invasion.
I've heard it.
Where Kevin Madden has an absolute breakdown
over the
referee's match. Yeah. It's one of the best bits of audio on a wrestling podcast I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he goes through some kind of crisis talking about that match.
Yeah. Especially because there's a bit where he calls Nick JR in commentary calls Nick Patrick a young kid, and he's like 56 years old or something at that point.
He'd been so broken down he'd had to retire from wrestling 20 years previous.
Yeah. Speaking of Nick Patrick, is it Eastbound and Down is returning?
Is it?
Yeah, they're doing a new series of it next year. I watched speaking of the boy himself, Kenny Powers, I watched for the first time in my life, this might shock some people, over the weekend, Tropic Thunder.
Get out of here.
I'd never seen it before.
A fantastic movie.
Which is funny because I was such a Ben Stiller fan back in his pomp, and I love Jack Black, and it came out of I was rewatching some Jack Black films over the weekend.
Okay.
Because there are very few comfort films as good as School of Rock.
Connor
I watched School of Rock at the weekend.
Loves that movie.
It's a 5-star movie, Lee. It's as simple as that.
It is a very good movie. A real feel good movie.
And that led me into rewatching the Tenacious D movie, which is
a top rope Samoan drop there, which for some reason Guido got to cover off.
Guido already got the deer fall. But yeah, I rewatched the Tenacious D movie, which is
I've not watched that since it came out.
It's by no means perfect, Like, no means perfect, but I'll tell you what, it's got a real charm to it.
Oh, powerbomb into a cutter.
Powerbomb reversal into a cutter.
I think some bad camera work there meant you missed Big Sal breaking up the pin.
Yeah, Big Sal now blocking off most of the ring in the light of the sun.
He was a big dude, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Very good bump, though. Tamikaze.
Wasn't the biggest fan of the bump Nova took there. It was a fairly cartoon bump.
Well, I mean,
for that.
it's Nova.
Yeah.
I will say, Simon Dean, an all-time great character.
Yes, for sure. That was great stuff from Guido there. He was like, he had his arms up in celebration and then dropped an elbow in one movement.
Oh, and another big Sally splash. It's Chris Chatty and his Prince-esque fluffy short.
Look at those ruffles.
It's amazing that he was Taz's cousin.
Yeah. Also, that is one of the most embarrassing looking Irish whip reversals I've ever seen. Danny touring a road killer here now.
They were heels at this point, obviously.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm so thankful this is how we watch ECW shows and not the standard note taking, because I usually do like a line break.
That was a barely roadkill. Barely made it 3/4 of the way across the ring there.
I usually do a line break on my notes for every segment change, and we have yet to have a segment change officially.
Roadkill getting a pop.
Yeah. As I live and breathe.
I think by the time ECW would return to pay-per-view in January, Danny Doring and Roadkill were faces. If I remember correctly.
Those are some trousers, by the way, on Chris Chatty.
What is it, like blue snakeskin?
It's either snakeskin or it's like that kind of like blue leopard print.
A half visual ECWWrestling.com banner in the back of the like it's not even a searchlight they have on it.
It's so fucking charming how low rent this thing is.
Oh, here we go. Steve Corino, who still hasn't grown into himself. Jack Victory.
Nope.
And Tajiri.
Yeah, Yoshihiro Tajiri.
So this is what I believe was the network. These are all Cyrus's guys. Jack Victory with a V spray painted into the back of his head.
Mm-hmm. We're also like mere months away from Tajiri jumping, aren't we?
No, Tajiri wasn't until 2001.
Oh, it was 2001. Yeah, because Regal was commish.
Tajiri was pre-invasion.
Yeah.
But post-ECW shutting down.
Yeah, he arrived around the same time as Heyman.
Mm-hmm. Was Tajiri the god of the three-way dance?
It's wild that Tajiri kind of still looks the same.
Is it though?
What?
I said, is it though?
Like, he definitely doesn't move like he used to.
He looks so much better with the long trousers than he did with the wrestling gear though. I tell you what, that singlet is still nothing for Steve Corino.
God bless him. It's one of those where like he doesn't really have the figure for the singlet.
No.
And it's also maybe slightly too large for him,
Yeah.
which is like the worst combination you can have in a singlet.
I think you're actually a couple of seconds behind me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go catch up now.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, Corino is one of them guys that he jumped to NXT in what, like 2018, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, something like that.
just before AEW became a thing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. If he had stuck around, we wouldn't have got Callis on New Japan commentary, and we might have got Steve Corino in AEW in the sense of on commentary.
The sliding doors there is.
And I don't know if Corino's still an NXT guy.
Yeah, I think he is, because weren't people surprised because they is he married to Alison Danger?
Oh,
That they hired her and fired her,
Yeah,
and he stayed.
I don't know if they were married or long time, like close friends or whatever it was. Or was it his sister? I can't remember the exact relationship, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got Tajiri, Super Crazy, and somebody in a three-way dance.
Somebody. What is your timestamp there, pal? Just so I can get caught up with you.
Just at 30 minutes and 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 9 seconds.
What's that, sorry, again?
30 minutes, and now I'm at 30 minutes 15.
Okay, thank you.
So Jerry Lynn is the third man in this three-way dance.
That's pretty good.
That's
a pretty good third man.
That's a pretty tasty three-way, I have to say. Jerry Lynn with taped ribs.
The DDP special.
I don't know if you talked about this on the previous show, but I love the ECW minimal entranceway.
Yeah. It was one of those things that, like, it comes out of the practicality that they just didn't have the money for big fucking Titantrons or something like that, but it gives them a different vibe.
Yeah, like, for all intents and purposes, it's a black curtain, an ECW sign, and some fake stone.
Yeah, and you've got, like, the little banners for the pay-per-view up on the sides of the arena.
Again, didn't cost much to get them made. Like, if you look, it's just a plain black ring skirt.
You say as well now, as they're doing his intro here, that, like, much as we said that, like, Yoshihiro Tajiri kind of still looks the same, and to some extent Jerry Lynn kind of looks the same, just like less hair, and what's there is grey. But Super Crazy looks like an entirely different human being in 1999 than even he would during his SmackDown run.
Yeah, that man bloated up something first for his WWE run.
He got barrel chested in the early to mid 2000s.
He was a lucha brawler body before that was a thing.
Yeah. God, Carino's hair is shit.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it?
Because, like, I was just looking at it there as he was getting out of the ring, and it's like he's got it's long hair all around, but he's got it clipped to, like, the kind of, the locks either side of his head are clipped to about ear length, and then the back of it runs down past his shoulders. Those are some kicks.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Crazy, and Jerry Lynn go for a lockup, and Theory just goes, I'm not having any of that shit, and kicks the two of them.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Already we're getting some double team moves.
Yeah.
Super Crazy taking the advertising route and wrestling in his new t-shirt. Insano luchador. Jeez, he picked up the speed there.
The beautiful head scissors.
Arm drag out of the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. And we get the respect.
Yeah. And here we get the the two sides of ECW. So we had like all the kind of the shenanigans and the fun and a big shit guy and a little speedy guy earlier on, and now we just get some real good fucking wrestling in this. Oh, never mind.
Oh no, he saved it back into the.
Oh wait, I saved it.
Tajiri seemed to mess up a sunset flip, and instead they just changed it into a tarantula attempt.
Really quick thinking.
We should say Jack Victory is in a wheelchair.
Yes.
Not really sure why.
But he's gone like between the wheelchair and the shades. He's full Doctor Strangelove out there.
It's amazing. Like I said earlier on, it's a much maligned roster, but like it's incredible the matches that this roster could put on if they chose to.
Yeah. Malign, but you're like, if we're doing a fantasy draft, you're picking all three men in this match, like.
Oh yeah, easily. And like Guido would absolutely get chosen.
LSD,
yeah. Beautiful SID moonsault by Tajiri. We should say he's still Yoshihiro Tajiri at this stage.
Yes.
He had yet to lose his first name.
You're definitely picking Dick Hertz in your fantasy draft as well.
I mean, listen, nothing wrong with a bit of Dick Hertz on the pay-per-view. We got some first instance of crowd brawling.
Yeah. Oh, it's all
I was just
going
to
to
say,
seats in the crowd.
It would seem that the crowd have these wooden deck chairs as well.
So it's not an ECW, they're just in an arena from the 1920s World's Fair.
Yeah, definitely getting some crowd brawling here.
And you know, I hate crowd brawling, but if there's one company where I'm like, yeah, I kind of know I'm going to get some crowd brawling.
It's ECW.
It's ECW.
I don't know if you noticed, but Super Crazy just peeled away from the other two, so I'm guessing. Yeah, here we go.
There we go. Big old moonsault.
Oh, the t-shirt's gone. Moonsault off and exit.
Great stuff.
Now, I'm going to say it doesn't look incredibly high, maybe, 9-10 feet in the air.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. Don't take that.
Yeah.
Don't take it as me shitting on him. I'm just saying it's by the grading on a curve of, this is ECW. It's not a very tall dive.
No. And by where things would go in, over the next year and a half, you have Jeff Hardy starting to jump off very high things as well.
Oh man, did you see the clip from the Dragon Gate dudes in America? They were doing a show in the West Coast somewhere, and they did a spot where one of them was on like a balcony and the other guy was on the middle rope and did a crossbody from the balcony into the ring.
Jesus.
Looked great. I will say, you love your independent wrestling. I'm guessing you're going to get some recs for the Dragon Gate guys during the next month on their excursions to the US.
Do you know what? Please do hit me with that, people.
I think Jerry Lynn was just going for a gory special there. Oh, tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Said it before. Love that move. Whereas the Jerry just fucking drop kicks him in the knee.
Straightforward.
Lane goes for a around it, and Craig's just like, nope, powerbomb. I think the worst part about being in a three-way with the Jerry is, at one stage you're going to go for a pin and get kicked in the face.
Yeah. And how close that kick lands to your face for real is anyone's guess.
It's really not up to you. We're just getting some finisher spam now. We got the cradle pile driver from Jerry Lane. Ooh, to Jerry snap a brainbuster on Super Crazy. And Crazy is gone. Of course, ECW three-way dance, elimination rules.
Yes.
Forgot.
Which, you know what? Big fan.
All for it, yeah. Something we don't see enough of in modern wrestling is a good elimination match.
Yeah.
I know AEW have gone the blood and gut through. I think, again, if they wanted to be slightly different to WWE, a good way to go would be do kind of like elimination matches to blow off feuds.
And you know what? They don't do a lot of three-way matches.
No, they
do a lot of...
It seems to be a thing that Tony Khan isn't into the multi-person match, so...
Yeah, he is. Like, he's done a lot of three-way tags.
Yeah, I don't think they even had like a straight four-way match in AEW.
Well, the women did at the last pay-per-view.
Yes, that could have been the first instance of it, actually.
Yeah, and I remember I was trying to think of three-ways, like with three singles wrestlers. The last one I can remember is, do you remember they did one for the TNT title? Which was like, was it Sammy, Andrade, and someone?
Jeez, that must have been recent. I don't recall that, actually.
Was it Sammy, Andrade, and...
Like Matt Hardy or something, was it?
Darby, maybe? I could be just making it up entirely.
Oh, what a tight German.
Oh, yeah, no, it was on... Yes, do you remember they did the TNT title three-way on like the go home for the pay-per-view? Was it Revolution?
Okay, so it started the year. Oh. No, I genuinely don't recall it.
Yeah, on the 4th of March.
No, I do actually.
Rampage.
I do because I think everyone was anticipating that Andrade was going to get the title.
Yeah.
Again, if there's something that I hope comes out of all the shit in the AEW at the moment, an Andrade push needs to happen.
Stupid, sexy Andrade.
I think we've talked about it before. Tajiri was so underutilized.
Yeah.
Like, he could have been like a WWE like Japanese star. Like, they don't get me wrong, they used him well, and like Tajiri in the Cruiserweight division was good, and like the comedy skits with Regal and all that are memorable, but like he absolutely could have been used higher up on the card.
It's unfortunately a characterizing feature of his whole career, really.
Oh, what a snap German.
Great bridge on it as well.
Mm-hmm. We should say we're on to the third referee of the night for this match. I cannot recall his name. The ribs come into play as Lynn can't get the pile driver.
Oh,
Firing up.
He's leaning up.
He's leaning up. Cradle pile driver.
Oh,
And he's got the win. See, there you go. That's another case of where doing a clean loss doesn't harm somebody.
no.
And Carino in now for the sneak attack.
Because of course he is.
Jack Victory, who was out of the wheelchair, got drop kicked off the apron. Pile driver on Carino. And there's your babyface standing tall.
Yeah. Jack Victory now out of the wheelchair
Yeah.
and consoling his boy. His poor Steve Carino, his poor dead son, who's been pile driven to absolute pieces as Mullet Man escorts Jerry Lynn to the back.
There you go. Just super crazy and Jerry in one match doing jobs. And again,
Yeah.
no harm done to them at all.
Nope.
Tombstone. He just called it Tombstone pile driver. Not like Joey to get move name wrong.
I know, yeah.
Oh, here we go. You got a New Jack feud. Staple gun to the eye from Angel of the Baldies to New Jack.
You gotta say, like, we're nearly at the top of the hour and it's flown by.
Yeah, it really has. So we got the Baldies here. Are you familiar with the Baldies, Dave?
As an act, no, I am not.
So you've got Tony DeVito, Angel. I think that's Vito LaGrasso, who you might know better
Yes,
know
it
as Big
certainly
Vito.
is. Friend of the show, Big Vito.
Is he still liking the Instagram posts?
He is, yeah, and tagging us
Good man.
and following us, most crucially.
And I do not recall the big guy.
It's a strong look, I gotta say.
I mean, there's a group of men that saw The Rock at Royal Rumble 99 and said, you know what, there's our look. So we've got Axel and Balls, the chair swinging
Balls.
freaks. Balls in a Marilyn Manson t-shirt. Axel in a Motley Crue t-shirt. I don't know, Dave. Something tells me this will not be a wrestling classic.
No. And something tells me there's going to be at least one chair shot that I'm going to flinch at.
So is it going to be a 4-on-4? Is it 4-on-2? 4-on-3? Who knows?
Is it actually a match? Okay, no, the bell has rung.
Well, we've got the 4 Baldies in the ring anyway.
Yeah.
Axel choke.
Okay, oh, yeah, okay, there's that chair shot.
Axel just brained Tony DeVito. Tony DeVito would go on to have a run in ROH, wouldn't he, as part of the Carnage crew?
I think you are correct.
We
I think that... Do you want to describe the Baldies' uniforms here to people?
Yeah, well, as I said, it's the Rock at Royal Rumble 99 with the black t-shirt The non-Adidas black 2-stripe t-shirts and the Adidas track pants. So it's a uniform that they all have.
I think one part that you're crucially leaving out is that the t-shirts are tucked into the tracksuit bottoms.
Yes, and skin tight.
Yeah.
I think the big guy is bleeding.
Oh, hello.
I'm guessing this is New Jack. Judging by the pop and the awful rap music on the network.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got New Jack. Has he got an eye patch?
He is very gingerly dragging that trash can out.
No, he's just got some tape over his eye. We should say Angel is wrestling with a staple gun chained around his neck.
Yeah.
New Jack making the mistake of throwing the weapons to his opponents. But he's got a crutch, and the crutch is broken when flying into the crowd.
Yeah. One of the men just got beamed with the remainder of the crutch. Baking tray.
Was that a baking tray?
Something resembling a baking tray or a sink.
So we've got the Angel and New Jack standoff here.
And he's got
a golf club.
Got the 5-iron there. 5-iron to his golf balls.
I'm pretty sure he just broke the golf club on his back.
Yes. Yes, he did.
The big guy is bleeding.
The unidentified Baldy.
I really should look up his name, actually. It's not like we're going anywhere. The match is going anywhere, so...
Yeah, New Jack's got the vacuum now. He's cleaning up. They are losing it for him cleaning up with the Hoover, and that is a Hoover to the testicles.
That's a blowjob he didn't want.
Ayo.
I don't know if you've noticed it, Dave, but there's a balsa wood guitar there.
There certainly is.
I think somebody's going to...
We better get used to those on our podcasts, let me tell you.
Okay, so... It couldn't be.
Oh, that's a staple to the balls.
Dave, I think... I could be wrong. I'm gonna check this. I'm gonna make sure. I might have identified who the fourth Baldy is.
Oh my god. Wooden chair across the back of Angel there. He is having a horrible time in the crowd. Balls has been left alone with a couple of Baldies. Big Guy and Vito.
Yeah, I have identified who the fourth man is. I don't think you'll quite believe this.
Okay. As Big Vito goes up.
It's a WCW...
To hit a beautiful elbow drop, it has to be said.
Quite a nice elbow drop. Not sure about the crotch chop afterwards.
No, not so much. He got a little bit overexcited there.
We've got
Axel, by the way, has got a ladder.
We've got a WCW legend in the Baldies. Oh, really? He just did a cannonball onto Axel. Or balls, sorry. Yeah, it's a WCW wrestler from the early 90s.
Right.
It's PN News.
Oh, wow.
And he spells it PN, capital Neuz.
Well, that sure is something, isn't it? Jack and Axel are setting up the ladder on top of a table against a tarp.
Did you know that PN News wrestled in Ireland?
Did he now?
No, sorry.
He's a former NLW champion now.
Sorry, I apologise. It's a different IWW. It's an IWW in Germany.
The I suppose the longest non-defunct heavyweight title in Ireland, the NLW title, has quite a history. I wouldn't have been surprised if PN News had held it at one
Wouldn't
point.
have shocked me.
This was a title previously held by Rene Dupree, Rob Van Dam, and John Heidenreich, among others.
Okay, Jack is now standing on a basketball backboard, which is covered with a November to Remember banner.
And he's doing one-handed crotch chops.
And he just dived.
Yeah.
We
So I love about the new Jack dive. There's absolutely no grace, no athleticism to it at all. It's just like Wile E. Coyote. He walks out onto thin air.
Yeah, and because the camera work is so shoddy, he just disappears into a sea of people.
Yeah, he doesn't so much fall as plummet.
And he's back on his feet, we should say.
Yeah. No sold it completely.
Whereas Angel may possibly be dead. With New Jack, it's quite possible that he is in fact dead.
We didn't see the impact on Angel, and we sure as fuck haven't seen Angel.
We may never see Angel
There's
again.
one man very sternly shaking his head at New Jack. Oh, Jack, you took it too far, buddy. And now he's biting PN News' face off.
I think he just took a toaster to the head, or VCR, something. Or then,
Oh, it's a Nintendo. It's an NES.
here's the two workers in the match now. We got Fido versus New Jack.
A main event in any arena. I think you'll agree.
Fido, who was just months away from becoming a Mameluke.
Yeah. Look, I think I've said it before in the podcast. There was a time where I was all in on Vito. They did for like a while in 2000.
They
really
gave him
tried
a
to
push,
go with
didn't they?
Vito.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's a Russo guy, so
Yeah.
he would have thought that the company that got behind Vito
Angel is back and he's got the guitar.
shot to the back of the head.
Whole bag of flour in that sumbitch.
And that's the winning shot because that gets a 3 count. We all know it's the shots that you can't see that hurt you.
Yeah.
Axel looks confused. He doesn't understand how wrestling works.
Yeah. What a stretch for him.
Tony DeVito's a mess.
What a unit.
Tony Khan would absolutely give the Baldies a push in 2022.
Yeah. Baldies versus Truthbusters, man. There's a feud.
I tell you what, it's good booking though, using New Jack to get the new guys over.
Yeah.
Or attempting anyway.
And do you know what? Again, crowd loved it.
Yeah. Oh, we got Cyrus and Joey on camera.
Uncomfortably close together.
K5.
Look, woeful jib, but Don Callis, one of the all-time great on-screen personalities. I love him.
Oh, Solemn Sabu.
Sabu and Fonzie. It's really disconcerting seeing a solemn Fonzie, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's odd.
I'm like, this is what he actually sounds like. Jeez, Fonzie's nearly crying here.
Apparently, Sabu's best friend, Ticho, has passed away. Again, with this dubbed over music, it's impossible to tell who's coming out here.
Yeah, I know, it really is. People are happy about whoever it is.
I'm gonna guess it's not Tommy Dreamer. No, she's in the main event, I think.
I think it was like, it's not Tommy
Ah,
Dreamer
it's
'cause they're
Candido.
happy.
Fuck yeah.
Yay.
Candido and Tammy.
Yeah.
Tammy Cinch. Who's still locked up, right?
At the
Yeah.
moment, I think so, yeah. I was going to say, at this point in 99, still looking great.
Yeah, absolutely. Just unfortunate what happened with Tammy and Chris.
Yeah.
Like, right as they were getting cleaned up and then Chris dies. Like, just how different is her life if Chris doesn't die?
Oh, I know. And like, we always talk about, and rightfully so, what a talent Chris Candido was. But she was an unbelievable talent, like as a personality.
Just give me 1 sec.
But I often think this, like, as well, where, you know, like I said, Chris Candido was a phenomenal wrestler, but like that act of him and Tammy was just unbelievable. And I remember her very early days of me watching wrestling as just being like this unbelievable personality. Like, she had twice the charisma of half the WWF roster at the time, you know. Yeah, she was great. Once again, no telling who. Oh, it's Sabu. Okay. I do love that, you know, that he's such a, like, an unhinged maniac that you can see from, like, as he's approaching the ring that, you know, Tammy is fearful, and then as soon as he gets into the ring, Candido bails. Safe to say people are happy to see Sabu. Just absolutely fucking jacked to the gills, Candido. My God. Swollen. Is that even a little pop for Fonzie, I hear? we go. So we go straight for the dive. For the takedown. Does it again. So you're getting the story of the match here where, like, Candido's going to try have a Roslyn match. And Joey's already saying here is like he doesn't want Sabu to dictate the pace because he's not a street fighter. It's a whole load of shit. I don't know if it's splinters or trash or what the hell it is in the entranceway. Candido's haircut is shocking, by the way. Real fucking shave those sideburns. Camera guy getting real liberal with the crash zooms as well. Jesus. Sabu goes for the plancha, just like as Sabu is wont to do, nearly lands directly on his own face. He, homicidal, suicidal, genocidal. You can't say the man didn't deliver. Great stalling vertical there.
I am back.
Here he is
All
now.
these some spider-related business to attend to.
It happens.
I don't know if you have these in your part of the country, but there's some fucking huge spiders going around at the moment.
Had a couple during the summer. It's been a real couple of weeks for the old daddy long legs around here.
I don't know if it's just changing weather or what it is, but yeah, it's been a couple.
That's usually when the when the weather starts to get a little bit more inclement. They all rush inside.
It'll only last a week or two and they'll all die anyway. So, have I missed much action?
So Joey Styles is setting up as the battle of like Candido's trying to have a Roslyn match, and at least early doors Sabu was trying to have a street fight outside. He did a springboard plancha and nearly landed on his own head.
Yeah, I mean, Sabu, of course.
But that's about it so far, to be fair.
Oh, springboard leg drop. Or double jump, sorry.
These referees love a quick enough count, don't
Yeah, they all had their own variety of kind of fasts, cadence. Yeah. Oh, we got a table between the apron and the ringside barrier.
Sabu absolutely loved a bit of that.
Again, I need to know the context behind all the ringside barriers being put into boxes.
Yeah, they look like they're being put in planters,
yeah.
like. There's a man taking a photo there beside the table that has a whopper mustache. Like a mustache that definitely was way past being fashionable in 1999.
Oh no. We got Sabu standing on the table and Candido going to the top rope.
Crotched.
I have a feeling this is not going to end well for either man. Oh, ran it into the ring. So being that this is Buffalo, New York in 1999, how many future independent wrestlers do you think are at the show?
I was going to say, what are the odds, as we said on the last show, of a young Joe Lanza and a young Tony Khan being present?
I don't know if JL was still into ECW by this stage, or still going to the shows anyway. I think it's quite possible that you had some future ROH wrestlers that would have been in attendance.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who, like, what a Homicide have been in attendance. Was he wrestling by 99 possibly? Low Key, all the kind of New York, New Jersey crew. Ass first through the table. And very lucky that certain parts of the table didn't splinter.
Yeah.
Did we just get a rope break?
Yeah, I think we got it. It looked like Tammy either was or was trying to get his foot on the rope for him.
We've now got Sabu making Candido humble. Oh, chair shot. Oh, I love Candido. Air Sabu into the corner, and Candido stumbles out into the point of the chair.
Great stuff. Baseball slide. Candido goes flying into the wooden chairs.
Oh, here we go. Double jump into the crowd. Here we go. Oh.
Crowd absolutely losing it now. Sabu getting annoyed with the chairs. Candido's got one of the chairs hung through his arm.
I wonder how much it cost this venue in chair damage alone, having an ECW show in the arena. It does seem like they just are a basketball, like a local basketball arena for like whether high school, college team, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I suppose that's one of the advantages of having that small set that you spoke about earlier, is that they had the freedom to run these smaller buildings, which probably cost them a lot less.
But it's literally just bleachers and some deck chairs on the floor.
Yeah. It's like somewhere you get a WrestleMania week show popping up.
which I'm wondering is the wooden boxes, because the barriers don't get any traction on what looks like pretty cheap matting over the basketball floor.
Yeah, it's to stop it from sliding too much.
Doing any damage through to the actual, valuable part of the arena.
Ooh.
I love Sabu who just walks up the ropes into a splash.
So not graceful.
Are the ECW fans directing a chant at Tammy there? By the sounds of it.
Seems like it.
Again, Candido not long for the company at this stage.
No. And that's to our benefit in terms of getting to watch someone of quality.
Or was it
on TV.
was it March he showed up? Was just before the reboot, wasn't it? Or possibly the reboot episode?
Yeah, it was in or around. I want to say him and Mike Awesome don't show up too far apart. Let me have a look here.
Oh no. I never like when the tables are set up like this.
Nope.
Where it's like half set up. Oh, that suck. Candido kicking out of the top rope Arabian leg buster? No, Arabian.
March.
So
He would show up in
so
March.
it was March, just before the reboot in April.
Yeah. He he would win the Cruiserweight title at Spring Stampede in April.
Of course. Part of the New Blood.
Which would also be that match we won the title, if I'm not mistaken, was when Tammy came with them.
That's right, yes.
Because he showed up by himself first,
and
didn't
then
he?
she debuted after the reboot. That's what it was, yeah.
Love that over the shoulder powerbomb.
Always cool.
Right.
We'll say Tammy has not played a big part in this match.
No, she hasn't. Nor has, apart from lovely pile driver, apart from throwing the chair in earlier, Fonzie hasn't either. I'm going to take my leave now, as spiders don't call, but nature does.
Totally understandable. Yeah, so this pay-per-view really has, I don't know for everybody else, but it's really flown by, in my opinion. Like, we're just over an hour and 15 minutes in, and nothing has really dragged, nothing has kind of outstayed its welcome. This Sabu Candido match has been very enjoyable from the bits I've seen. A lovely top rope superplex by Candido. Again, Candido so underrated, so I don't think kind of modern fans, he's not a guy that modern fans seem to be aware of. Like, obviously he died in, God, was it 07-ish? After his unfortunate leg break in TNA and side effects from the operation. But yeah, just a guy that's just not talked about enough is Chris Candido. Could do it all. He could fly, he could be a power junior, just could go hold with anybody. Crowd very into this match. Oh, nasty looking springboard moonsault, Arabian moonsault by Sabu. Just landed on his knees more than anything else. Again, as Dave said, the man is not graceful for a guy that's known as a high flyer. Oh, Tammy gets involved and crotches Sabu. Possibly setting up for the super bomb by Candido. Oh, Rana. Candido now going back to the top again. That ringside photographer has a hell of a mustache as well. Oh, Candido headbutt. Right to the chest. The kind of better place to do if you're going to do the headbutt. I love Candido shouting that's bullshit after the kick out. Oh, we've possibly got Fonzie getting involved here. Oh, short pile driver there from Candido. Seems they could possibly be running out of ideas at this stage now in the match. We got another table coming out. Candido taking his time here, giving Sabu a chance. Ooh, a drop kick to the ankle. Just a leg drop to the back of the head. And we've got another table being set up. This has to be table number 4, possibly 5 in this match.
I would have thought that we would have been about 4 segment transitions on
No,
that time
we're
I was gone.
still on this match. We've got, as I just said, this is table number 4 or 5 in this match. I think they're starting to run out of ideas at this point. We've now got Tammy and Alfonso involved. Mm-hmm. Bill Alfonso with a front face lock on Tammy.
Yeah, I will say, by the way, you can tell it's 1999 because the one bit of action that the cameraman is desperate. Ooh. Is desperate to not avoid is any movement of Sonny's cheeks.
Yes. And you're not talking about the ones in her face.
I am not.
Candido saves Tammy from the table and gets leg dropped with both legs through the table.
To describe the leer of the camera on Tammy during this match would be like Maria in New Japan levels, nearly.
And we've all seen that gif.
Yeah, it's like we don't know where some of the participants in the match were during the match, but we know where our arse was at all times, thanks to that one cameraman.
Oh, we've got an Arabian facebuster with the chair, and then Sabu makes Candido humble with the camel clutch for the tapu.
And then Fonzie has to drag him off him.
Rare tap-out victory in ECW.
Yeah.
Other than Taz, he didn't get many people using submissions.
No.
I do love Sabu's music.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Joey Styles talking about newfound respect for Candido.
Sabu looks absolutely bollocks.
Don't think he did not want that match to go that long. I love that
in the words of the great philosopher, I'm done, Gus.
Oh, we got Masato Tanaka on a treadmill.
Yeah. Surprised he's not already busted open. Speaking of men who pretty much look the same now.
I mean, we saw him live, a couple of years ago.
That's still super weird to me.
We got AEW's social media manager and Mike Awesome.
Yeah. Fucking size of Mike Awesome, man. I'm not looking forward to how sad we're going to be what WCW get handed to them on a platter with this guy. Actually, not even handed a platter. They paid a premium to get that guy out of his contract.
They paid so much money and then just killed him. I mean, people talk about waste of money in WCW. That's number 1 on the fucking list.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been. Do you know what I mean? Like, that should have been a very wise investment. Mm-hmm.
Feel the power, take the bomb. Not quite the catchy slogan he thinks it is.
No.
Does Cyrus have a name tag?
Yes, he does.
What does it say? It says Cyrus and I can't see what it says underneath.
I just don't understand why they have to stand so close to each other.
I'm guessing they only had very limited space to do this shot.
Yeah.
So they had to get them as close as possible together. I do enjoy that the camera never stays still. It's constantly turning and fucking spinning.
Just Dutch angle, reverse Dutch angle.
I just heard Cyrus say taking one for the boys is a time-honored tradition. Okay. Is this one Louis Dangerously? Cosplaying as Paulie.
Yep.
The powers that be.
The face on Francine.
Atlas Security throwing him out.
There's just no one's having any of this. That was a good bit, to be fair.
Joey, that promo wasn't supposed to make here. Here we go, baby.
Oh boy.
Never a bad match when these two are in the ring.
Nope.
I love that Masato Tanaka has had the same tights, shorts, since basically 1998.
Yeah. I can imagine his rationale is like, well, these ones still work.
They still fit. His body hasn't changed at all.
Yeah.
A few more scars.
He's still got the most entertaining shoulder width to waist ratio of all time.
Look at the size of him. Fuck.
It's just he's built like an upside down trapezoid. Like that's
He's a human pyramid.
Yeah.
I hear some hard rock, so that can only mean one man. I tell you what, isn't it fascinating that the new ECW World Champion is now a mid-card act?
Yeah.
And I wonder if it wasn't totally unintentional or totally not intentional, because Paulie's big long-term plan was RVD versus Awesome. And it was going to be for both the belts, or to unify them, or whatever he was going to do. So I wonder if it wasn't intentional to always have like RVD ahead of Awesome on the card.
The belt is looking great.
Really does. Suits him. Such a pity that Rhino would then go on to burn it in a trash can on TNA. Tell you what, Judge Jeff Jones did a good job trading in Sid for Mike Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like this match is being third from the top is mad.
Is this the third last match?
Yeah.
And we've still got over an hour on the show to run. Shit, I just cancelled out the show. Stupid network.
Good man. Yeah, so we've got the TV title and the 6-man left. But the Candido match was the longest on the show.
I suppose, yeah, that's also the forgotten thing. Like, Paulie brought this guy in and just put the belt on him.
Yeah.
Which is not something you see. Like, imagine...
It's not something he did that much.
No, like, I know the famous one is Jericho coming in and winning the TV title. In, like, what, 95? But, like... Can you imagine, I don't know, somebody coming in from DDT and just winning the AEW title?
Yeah. It'd be nuts.
Because again, for as much maligned as ECW was, it was absolutely the number 3 promotion in North America. And treated as like a equal to ECW or WCW and WWE at the time.
Yeah. Although they called them the big 3.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the big 2.
ECW.
And then, the other guys.
This wasn't a WWE, TNA, and ROH thing. It was the big 3.
Yeah.
Ooh. Tanaka with some high flying, which you wouldn't see very often.
No.
I will say, one thing I haven't noticed is any offensive signs.
No, which, like, unusual for 1999.
Even when Tammy was out, there wasn't too many offensive chants.
No. There wasn't none.
No.
But there wasn't as many as
there
you
was
might
more than
expect
0 and less than
brace
5. How about we say that?
Yeah. Great return.
I tell you, she was out there for, the longest time on the show.
Yeah.
Although Francine still has to come out, so, let's not give them too much credit too early. Oh, Francine and Tammy Lynn Bitch. Or Dom. She might have been Dom Marie at this stage. So... Uh-oh. Oh! Belly to belly on the head.
Oh, big man Undertaker dive.
Nobody did it better. I don't care.
And that's it. And Tanaka ended up with some balls in his face there.
Added bonus. Insult to injury and all that.
Yeah.
Joey with a shot at Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I don't care. For the size of the man, nobody did the big man dive better than Mike Awesome. Like you talk about big guys now doing that stuff. For a comparison.
Yeah.
Like Keith Lee is probably a significantly larger human being than Mike Awesome. But he can't quite do it as gracefully, I don't think.
Also, I think it's become more of a big guys do dives now thing. It was completely freakish back then.
Like, without a Mike Awesome, you're not getting a Brian Cage.
No.
Which, I was just going to say,
worse.
Some people would probably prefer not to have Mr. Get Your Shit In. Oh, we got Awesome going to the top with a chair in hand. This is going to end badly. Oh my god. Two of the sickest chair shots you're likely to see. Oof. Tanaka with a return. Oh, and the roaring elbow. Elbow drop with a chair onto a chair placed on Mike Austin's face. I do love that Joey just ran through the three finishes that Tanaka has. He has the roaring elbow, which you just seen, the diamond dust, and the tornado DDT out of the corner onto the chairs, which we might be about to see. Yeah,
Just seen.
So again, storytelling with Tanaka having to burn through his finishers to try to get through this big guy. Second one.
Oh, lovely. Reverse the second tornado DDT attempt into a sit-out spinebuster.
Fuck, man, what a lariat. One of your favourite moves.
Damn right.
I think we're about to see a table, Dave.
I would think so.
Oh no, I don't like the placement of that wooden crate behind that table. I think Tanaka's head might be in danger here.
Good lord.
Oh, Tanaka gets out of the awesome bomb attempt.
And now Tanaka saying he's going to put Awesome through the table out on the apron.
Someone's gonna die.
Yeah. Oh. Sit out powerbomb off the apron by Mike Awesome.
There's no way that doesn't hurt both guys. As someone who just had their back worked on today, I'm really glad I didn't become a wrestler.
Might that have been the readjustment you needed?
Jesus. By 1999, Don Callis is a 10-year vet. Oh, look at Awesome's leg.
Yeah, his just south of his arse is bleeding. Nasty old gash.
So of course Jeff Jones puts another table into the ring because one just isn't enough.
In for a penny, in for a pound, eh? Might as well get a matching gnarly scar on the other arse cheek while we're all here.
I will say the crowd are all standing up at this stage.
Yeah. They haven't sat down in a few minutes.
Even like the people up, kind of higher up on the raft, like the up above the ECW entranceway and stuff, seem to be standing up. Oh no. I can see where this is going.
Top rope. Looks like it's going to be an avalanche awesome bomb.
And that table is not...
Oh my god.
That table is not nearby.
And those men are not nearly steady enough on the rope. Oh, reverse. Superplex. Oh my god.
Again, ass cheek first through the table.
Yeah.
Fans are way into Tanaka at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going for a diamond dust.
There it is.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Tanaka just got dumped with a German and then ate a fucking lariat in the face. Awesome splash. Awesome frog splash. Oof. I love this. I absolutely love it.
And so did this crowd.
This is great. Not to be cliche, but this is awesome. I think we're gonna get it. Top rope awesome bomb.
Yeah. There it is.
Incredible.
And that's it. Great stuff.
Lovely match.
Not the best one of their matches, but fabulous nonetheless.
I mean, you want to talk about establishing a new champion. Let them go out and have matches like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
covering his own
he actually has the Mike Awesome music.
Oh, he does, yeah.
I didn't notice that in the entrance. Oh. I think the fans may not have been aware of who he was before, but
they know now.
it is such a shame that he left. And they couldn't pay off whatever the plan was to be. Oh, that chair shot. I love in this promotion of all places, Joey Styles is apologising for using language.
That release German
Yeah,
is
it's
sick.
incredible. And he just rolled through it. Man, that Awesome Mom was so good. Like the Super Awesome Mom. Like the balance it requires to have two men of that size standing on the top rope and then execute a powerbomb.
Yeah.
Interesting that they're getting this match in before Taz has gone. So they're having... I can only assume having Taz do the job on the way out. So not only did he put over the new world champion and top contender, they're having him put over RVD as well.
It's the way to do it if you know the guys leave them.
Absolutely. Did I tell you I had Taz's ECW music play in had like a YouTube playlist or something in either the house or the car, and Connor was in the room or in the car or whatever it was. He's like, I didn't know Taz came out to the War Machine. I was like, that's not War Machine. It is. And I was like, no, that's his ECW music. I said, but he did use War Machine, yes. I said, it's based on it.
Yeah. Yeah, his ECW music is legally distinct from War Machine.
Barely, but it is. I said, but he does use War Machine now on ECW or on AEW shows. He's like, oh, right. I was more like, how do you know what War Machine is?
Yeah, raising that kid right.
Listen,
This is why he's slapping the pair of us around in that listener poll. Have you got a single vote yet, buddy? Did you get
no, it wasn't me. It was my good, close personal...
Did the wife subscribe? Actually, no, if the wife subscribed, she wouldn't have given you the pity vote. She would have voted for Connor as well.
Or you, just to spite me.
Yeah.
No, it was our good, close personal friend, and you know, a guy that would be getting free subscription for many months is SD Dakota. I can't remember what.
Oh, it took him a while to remember your name there, pal. I'd be switching my vote.
Man, it's late at night. I've had a couple of whiskeys. Give me a break.
It is worth saying, yeah. It is 11:30 on a school night for us.
Well, school night for you. I am, as I said, off this week.
Oh yeah, you're on your holidays. You goddamn son of a bitch.
Sorry, I just find it. Yeah.
Here we go. Hairy chest RVD.
Dakota Jones. I knew it was Jones, and I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say Jones without being sure. Yeah. He says, love the opener and his top two. Yeah, I mean, look, Dakota has taste.
I had my first offensive sign spotting of the night there. Taz equals gay.
That's unfortunate.
You know, you couldn't avoid them being a 90s crowd for all that long.
He's got a nice FU Taz sign.
Yeah.
The whole effing website. How cool was RVD's entrance where he just walks around high-fiving the whole crowd?
RVD was the man. RVD is the man. It's like, was he 52 years young?
Yeah, I pointed out a couple of months ago to a guy I worked with that was like familiar with wrestling and kind of followed some people on Twitter and Instagram, whatever. I was like, have you seen RVD recently? He's like, no. I said, the man just, you know, wrestles occasionally and has threesomes with his girlfriends. And he's,
yeah.
And he's just like,
winning.
sorry, what? I said, look up his Instagram. And yeah, he's just like, yeah, that dude is just winning that life.
Yeah.
Again, awful overdub music here. If you've never experienced a real RVD ECW entrance with original music, you gotta watch one with RVD coming out to Walk by Pantera.
It's just an unbelievable tune.
Again, in one of my former jobs, we would play CDs, Dave. Remember CDs?
I do.
We had a CD player in
CDs.
work, and we would occasionally, because there was only two of us on the whole floor, we would have Pantera, Greatest Hits playing while working. Great times.
Great stuff.
We'd also have Girls Aloud, but you know that was for when we were in a different kind of mood.
I used to despair when my first job I worked on the tills in Tesco, and on the playlist at the Tesco I worked in was the song "I Touch Myself."
Get the fuck out of it.
I swear to Jesus, man, like it was the most disconcerting thing in the world when like it's mid morning and there's just like old grannies doing their shopping and just yeah, it was real bad.
Oh God, I can't hear that song without thinking of the former Progress wrestler.
Oh yeah,
He got cancelled, didn't he? Yeah,
he sure did.
That had a feeling there was stuff that was said. Sorry, I shouldn't say stuff that was said. Stuff that came out about him being awful. So odd seeing RVD with just one belt in ECW.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be any real theme to his singlet this month. It's just Skull, Yin and Yang, RVD.
What a star. Wasn't it
incredible that when he went into the WWF at the time, and still his ring gear just looked so much better than everybody else's?
Yeah. All I'm going to say is like he's one of the very few people that was tied to the Alliance and still got massively over in spite of that.
Him, Kidman, and was there anybody else? Like Christian came out of it weaker. Booker came out of it weaker. Like I don't think there was anyone else other than those two that really came out of it in a position of strength.
I guess. No.
I agree with you. I don't think there was. I think Kidman was just like head and shoulders above all the other juniors at the time. Or cruiserweights. And then RVD just had incredible matches with a ton of WWF guys to the point where they just couldn't deny him anymore. Even though they would attempt to for many, many years. I think I talked about this on my solo audio there a couple of weeks ago. Somebody asked if I were to be a wrestler, what would be my finishing hold?
Yeah.
I absolutely wanted to be Taz. Like I was full on going to be like Irish Taz. Like I was going to use the Kata Hajime, throw stupid suplexes and probably hurt people. So I'll ask you, if you were to be a wrestler, what would be your finishing maneuver?
I'm trying to think what when we used to do like backyard / bouncy castle wrestling when we were kids, what I would use. I was a big fan of a double arm DDT.
like a Foley style double arm DDT.
Yeah. I know a move I used to always give myself, my creator wrestlers, that I could never really like pull off as a kid, was a Falcon Arrow.
Again, all I'm getting from this is that Dave, big hardcore Holly fan.
Yeah. I used to always try to
Beat up your smaller cousin.
No, I was gonna say I used to always try to do fisherman suplexes as well, but I would either not be able to get the bridge, because if it's a bouncy castle, obviously it's harder to maintain the bridge, or because it was like another uncooperative 8-year-old, they wouldn't let you hook the leg.
I'm telling you, those wrestling matches, they were more of a shoot than most things you see now.
Yeah, damn right. UFC nothing, man. Myself and my best friend at the time, Gareth, used to have a thing where we'd always try to catch each other in ankle locks, just in like everyday situations.
Now, you talking full like Kurt Angle style ankle locks, or like you going like full Shamrock with the arm takedown and transitioning into an ankle lock?
I would always try to pick the ankle out of somewhere, and I would try and grapevine the legs.
So you were going full angle.
So his insistence was on trying to get me in an ankle lock. Once he got me in the ankle lock, that was sufficient for Gareth. But my insistence would be getting him in the ankle lock and making sure he tapped out. So I needed to grapevine the legs so he wouldn't like roll out.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff we would do as kids.
Yeah. I think I mentioned before in the show when we brought this up, I could do a swanton back then, but it wasn't like my...
Was it like graceful, or was it a Sabu-esque kind of sloppy?
It was less like his usual ones and more like his, not sloppy on the level of a Sabu, but definitely in the kind of like, I kind of walked off the... It was like I'd use either a ladder or the shed in Garrett's house to go off, and it was more just I'd kind of like launch myself with one foot and I wouldn't get any additional air. I'd more kind of rotate as I fell. Yeah. Like the Jeff off the set at Royal Rumble 2000.
Or Jeff in AEW where he just fell and hurt people.
Yeah. I don't think I ever got the full like arse and body on someone. I think I had pretty good aim with my senton.
I'll tell you, Dave more of a worker then than he is now.
Yeah. Like when I think back on it, like the fact that the two moves I was going for all the time were double arm DDTs and fisherman suplexes, like where the fuck was I getting that from?
I mean, obviously watching your Kobashi tapes.
Yeah. Like I was such a Sean guy, even from like, when I started watching, that I'm surprised a super kick wasn't my thing.
Super kicks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said this before, but I legit ate a super kick full on the chin once.
Do you remember? Who was it? Was it Zig or Barry?
Outside the Tivoli?
Tried to super kick the other and fucking snot themselves on the ground.
It was Zig trying to do it to Big Zig.
Yeah.
And, he full on snotted himself outside the Tivoli.
Yeah.
He won't thank us for
Good
reminding
times.
people.
No.
That's Zig from Journey Through Gorilla Island fame.
Yeah.
Oh, RVD with a dive from one side of the arena to the other.
Yeah.
Just think of the amount of lawsuits there would have been if the ECW fans were that way inclined.
You could ask, if you're a Journey Through Gorilla Island listener, the next time they look for Q&As, you could ask which was more embarrassing, Zig eating shit on a super kick outside the Tivoli, or Barry slapping Ospreay's injured shoulder on
Some say
VOD.
he's still slapping the shoulder.
Some say he'd get a lot more cheers for slapping Ospreay's injured shoulder now than he would have back then. Barry was the babyface all along in that feud. Oh, lovely chop block. Shout out to Jamesy on that one.
Every chop block. If there's ever a chop block on the show, Jamesy gets a shout out.
Yeah.
Do you think Taz apologised for his use of language on the show?
I don't think he did.
Have you seen Taz on the YouTube show with RJ City, the Hey ECW?
No, I've literally only watched a couple of episodes of that finally in the last couple of weeks.
It's so
it's
good.
Great.
You need to watch the Taz episode. Taz just buries him constantly. Which episodes of it have you seen?
Let me have a look here now. We can have a look in my.
Now again, I've only
my
seen
feed.
a handful, but I've seen most of the most recent ones. I haven't gone back through the back catalogue that much.
I haven't watched the. Okay, so I watched the Statlander one, which is great because he kept cracking her. Sorry, I'm just trying to look through the whole. God, he's done 24 of them already.
There was that many.
I watched some of the Regal one.
So good. Oh, Tiger Tazplex. RVD with the fault.
Oh yeah, and I watched the Kingston.
I have not seen the Kingston one yet.
This is quite good. What's his latest one? Daddy Magic
I
and
watched
Cool
that
Hand
one
Ange.
recently. Again,
Claudio.
have you seen the Tony Storm one? Very funny.
No.
The Regal, Taz, and Tony Storm ones are and obviously the most recent Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange. Very good. Now Taz has got a table. No wonder this company went out of business.
At the table and wooden chair budgets through the roof.
The environmental problems this company caused just on tables alone.
Honestly.
Ooh, RVD spin kick.
RVD's hair for his level is at least an 8.
Yeah, I'd imagine even though it's November, that the humidity in that arena at this stage of the night is pretty high.
I'd say frankly disgusting at this stage.
You got the Rolling Thunder following the handspring moonsault. Vintage RVD. Again, two of my favourite moves to give wrestlers in the WWE games.
One of the things I can't wait for when we get to it on Black and Golden Days is Vintage Maxine. It's like her second match, Punk. Vintage Maxine. Guys, if you're all feeling like we miss CM Punk a bit, just go onto YouTube. One of the best uses of 15 minutes of your time will be that supercut of the summer that Punk spent on commentary. On Superstars, Raw, and NXT.
I didn't realise it was a super cool. Oh, that clothesline.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Jesus. RVD went for the rolling monkey flip and just ate Taz's forearm.
Because he was commentating during King of the Ring, or he's like, King Kofi Kingston. It's a great title, but not so good on the alliteration.
Imagine he got away with that.
Yeah. Oh, if you want evidence of a period of time where Vince McMahon was not paying attention to commentary, yeah, his open disdain for Scott Stanford, where he's just like glaring at him.
We got the leg capture, Tazplex through the table. Again, not many people that Taz could do the leg capture Tazplex with, but RVD, obviously one of them people.
He called on one of the episodes of NXT season 3, he called it a train wreck, didn't he?
Did, yeah.
Because it's horrible, but I can't look away.
I'm gonna have to watch that Supercut while we're processing this show. Fonzie in, obviously big history between Fonzie and Taz. Fonzie, who had turned on Taz to align with Sabu and RVD. That's some ECW history for those who don't recall. Oh, RVD dropkick into the chair, into Taz's face. The Van Daminator, of course, yes.
The man with the giant RVD thumb signs in the crowd is great.
We are still over a year away from the debut of the Van Terminator, Dave. A move that you might know better as the Coast to Coast, made famous by Shane McMahon.
Yeah. Its most famous exponent.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that probably is true. Its most famous exponent. I would guarantee more people have seen that finish at 17 than have ever seen Van Damme do the Van Terminator.
Sloppy as fuck. You got a UFO Club chant, Dave. Split-legged moonsault, though. Brings it back. I love that Fonzie getting into the ring because he thinks it's over. I think Taz legit fucked up his mouth.
And I just... Yeah, and then like as soon as it's a near fall, like Fonzie reverses direction and gets back out without hesitating. It's like, oh right, okay.
Man, RVD is so good. Like, I think sloppy, but so good.
Yeah.
5-star frog splash. Again, I think we mentioned this before. The big sell after he lands it.
Yeah. Like it absolutely kills him.
Which we would also see, I think we mentioned this on the NXT show, but Justin Gabriel. We don't see people doing that anymore where like a top rope move hurts them just as much.
Yeah.
Or well, not just as much, but it hurts them to perform it, but because it's such a lethal move, it's worth it.
Yeah. Taz doing the honors.
Yep, absolutely. I genuinely do think this match is totally forgotten in the timeline of Taz because it's told on the Rise and Fall of ECW that Taz drops the title and is gone.
Yeah. In people's minds, he's already gone.
Do we get a handshake, fist bump? High five. Even Fonzie got a handshake. I love that RVD make sure he's cool first before going and celebrating. Fonzie doing some kind of RVD/Sabu dance.
He's just a very excited man.
Well, I think the mood has changed slightly as we get a big cut, and Rhino is now on his way to the ring.
Yeah.
Considering what was left on the show, you can only speculate to how awful whatever it was they cut was.
Just a thick man, Rhino.
Have you ever seen that man in person?
No. I don't think so. See, is he also a former NLW champion?
It would not stun me. Let me cage match for one Rhino. Rhino cage match. Would you believe on cage match his wrestling style is described as powerhouse? Okay, let me see.
Just
ECW,
incredible and
ECW,
Jason.
WWF, WCW, NWA World Heavyweight Champ, Rockstar Pro Champion, DDT Iron Man Heavy Metal Champion,
Oh, everyone's won that.
OVW Television Champion. He has not been a MLW Champion, unfortunately.
Oh, still time.
So let me see. Did I say MLW? NLW. I think I said MLW as in Major League Wrestling. That's not what I meant. Are you a big Just Incredible fan, Dave?
I couldn't say I
don't
am.
think anyone can.
He has a near incurable case of annoying face.
Well, there's Lance and Don Murray.
Yeah. And yes, just to confirm, she is now going by Don Murray.
So there has been apparently 29 NLW champions. So let me run through some of these. We've got Duncan Disorderly was the first champion. Sean Brennan.
Right.
Heidenreich.
Yeah.
Big change there.
Yeah.
Back to Sean Brennan. Then we have one Rob.
That means there was a Maxer
Yes.
Heidenreich feud. Was this back when the title was being defended in France a lot?
No, Heidenreich won the... You're not going to believe this. Where in all of Ireland do you think Heidenreich won the NLW title?
Based on your laughter, I'm going to guess, and I'll bet I'm right.
No.
Nace. Oh.
Sean Brennan won it back in Ace.
Yeah,
Heidenreich won the belt in Castlebar, County Mayo.
Wrestling
Jesus, Ramsey.
hotbed.
That's certainly one way to make an entrance.
It actually would be less racy if she had just walked out in the nip.
Okay, so we had Sean Brennan again. Robert Van Dam, Rene Dupree.
Yeah.
Then the title was vacated because apparently Rene would not do the job.
It didn't work for him.
Duncan got another run. We had Michael Knight. No idea. He won it in Germany. Then one Pack won it in Oberhausen. Pack. He had a 9-day reign. Duncan got another run. Davari won the title in Bordeaux. He would then drop the title to Sean Maxer. Then we got Paul Tracy getting the run. Duncan, some other prick, Paul Tracy, Danny Butler, prick, Paul Tracy, Butch, prick, Butch, Ryan Smile, COVID denier, somebody else, guy winning 9 misses, prick, super cunt, and Snake Man.
Oh, we should make Title Histories with Liam Malone a feature on the show. Was that super cunt?
There was a super cunt in there, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, if that won't get listeners pumped for this main event, what will?
So we're missing Sandman's entrance has started. Obviously, it's not going to be. Yeah, it's the really shit overdub. It's not even his WWE music.
Oh.
It's the one that they had for the early ECW releases on the. What's it, 24/7? Yeah, I was just going to say that. It's the Bruce Lee t-shirt. We should say this is our first instance of post-hack Sandman.
Yeah. There's a kid hanging out of him while he's crashing a beer.
I now understand why there was over an hour left with the last 3 matches, because Sandman's entrance is going to go for a good 20 minutes.
Yeah. You missed out on a world where, much like Goldberg, Jericho did a parody of this entrance and got lost in the crowd.
Sandman is now vibing to the music. It's quite possible he's drunk at this stage.
Lee, he's been in the building.
His eyes are glassy at this point.
He is gone.
That, you know what?
Look at that.
That's a man that knows he's not getting a major league run after this.
Yeah, see that sign beside him that says "Be safe, Sandman." There's some guy on his cell phone.
Sandman using fans to get himself over the rail. I mean, wrestlers would say that Sandman is a better worker when he's drunk. Again, I'm not sure I want to test that theory.
I was going to say, I'm not sure how many of them wrestled him sober.
Look at those eyes. That's a man that's...
The lights are on, but no one's home.
I mean, this is beer number 4 of the entrance alone. I don't know about you, Dave, but if I got through 4 beers in 6 minutes, there's a chance I'm not standing.
Yeah, I know. Now, they are Budweisers, so it's absolute piss he's drinking. Sandman left that guy hanging after he fed him a beer. Threw it up for the high five, and Sandman looked him dead in the eye and walked off. It's a fucking power move.
So Sandman is now just getting into the ring, and there's 16 minutes left. And there's
He's not even in the ring yet. He's still on the apron.
And there's probably an angle at the end of this match as well.
Yeah. This may only be the fourth to last segment on the show.
So 2/3 of the baby faces would be were WCW wrestlers until a couple of months previous to this.
Yeah.
2/3 of the heel team would go on to be... Well, no, Lance would be gone in a couple of months. And the other guys wouldn't go until post-ECW.
Yeah, one of them was the last ECW champion.
And then the other guy in the match is Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah. They were fucking shutting the lights off and realised he was still in there.
I genuinely think I look more intimidating right now than Just Incredible. Look kind of similar though with the shaved head and the beard.
No, you're not nearly as hateable.
Well, depends who you ask. By the end of this podcast, anyone in Irish wrestling.
Especially all them super cunts.
Has Tommy Dreamer got like a broken arm or something? Yes, he definitely has something on his arm there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Big elbow pad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like one of those things that adjusts the how much you're able to extend it.
It's one of them gimmicks that Christian had on.
Yeah.
Man, look at the difference in Raven. Like from when we just saw him at Spring Stampede to now, what, 6 months later?
Yeah. Makes me sad that we don't have that much longer with him.
Like between now and like this point and 2005, it's just a lot of wasted time for Raven, unfortunately. Like he has the CM Punk feud in early ROH. And some slight TNA highlights. But until the world title win in TNA, it's just a lot of nothing. I'm guessing the tease here is that Raven and Sandman fucking hate each other. And Tommy is the one that gets along with both, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've seen the Raven return to ECW.
I have indeed.
An all-time great angle.
Oh.
You want to talk about
pop.
the whole thing of one segment running into the other. The Dudleys winning the titles and then proclaiming that they're going to leave with them only for Raven and Dreamer to fucking win the titles. Incredible. Well, Dreamer to come out and challenge them to a 2-on-1 and then Raven to return. Okay, we still haven't had a lockup in this match. There we go. 13 minutes. Oh, referee just went on his arse.
Just gotta say, one of the all-time messiest lockups to start the match as well. It's like Sandman nearly fell
I don't know
over
if you noticed this,
starting
but
it.
Sandman is wearing his WCW allocated FUBU jeans.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, I don't know if you noticed this, but Sandman is not a good wrestler.
That goes without saying. Sandman also seems to have lifts in his shoes. So he's still in full WCW mode at this point.
Yeah.
This is the workers segment of this match now with Dreamer and Storm coming in.
Yeah. Speaking of people on the show not long for this company, we would soon after this in the timeline, when we eventually get there, be blessed with
do you know what? If there's one person I'm looking forward to coming into WCW most, it's Lance. I think we're going to discover a couple of matches that don't get talked about anywhere near enough.
Yeah, I was a big Lance Storm and WCW fan. Him and Elix Skipper.
The original team candidate.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the big feud at this moment is Sandman and Credible.
Oh yeah, I had to look it up because I was trying to remember what he renamed the three belts he won.
The Saskatchewan.
So there's the US title was renamed the Canadian Heavyweight title. The Cruiserweight title he renamed to the 100 kilograms and under championship. And then there was the Saskatchewan Hardcore International title, aka shit.
I knew there was one that was the Saskatchewan something.
And the big fucking Canadian stickers he put on them.
Phenomenal stuff.
Yeah. One of the top 10 anime betrayals of all time when Jim Duggan betrayed America.
To be fair, more people should betray America.
Trying to get that fucking just incredible heat there.
Listen,
you were.
All I'm saying is there should be more Benedict Arnolds in this world. I think Joey just named a super bomb a gravedigger. Again, one thing ECW was great for is wrestlers having a name for every single move they did, and Joey knowing them all,
and not horrendously cringy names either, like you get in WWE now.
Lance and that left foot super kick. Again, Lance, ring gear so far ahead of pretty much everyone else in ECW.
Yeah, do you know, like it is the.
Oh,
it is one of the more
Jesus
tired talking
Christ.
points, but it absolutely blows my mind that Lance wasn't yoked.
Yeah. So Raven just attempted to backdrop Credible and stumbled backwards and ended up backdropping Credible into the ropes.
He landed on his own head then.
Now we're getting finisher spam and breakups. That looked nasty. Sandman just did a handspring into the corner for no apparent reason.
He just did a somersault into a tree of woe.
Slowly.
So slow. So gingerly.
Even flow, incredible, gets a near fall. Dave, you're going to be shocked. There's going to be another table spot.
Where are they fucking keeping all these things? Oh, that is a cheap wooden floor.
I think that's
mats, isn't it?
Oh, Raven just dropped a whole dreamer and flung himself through a table.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say
funny
they had the blue mats and then like really cheap looking brown ones underneath them, just to protect the basketball floor. Rhino just gored Storm, so we're getting all kind of partners turning on partners here. A lot of that one wasn't quite intentional. Rhino now selling the cane shots. This is obviously the start of the Rhino push.
Before his gear would get more stylized, the R on the back at this time is full fucking Team Rocket. Like, it's...
Wow, that pop for the women getting involved is probably the second loudest on the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't going to be good.
No.
Well, Sandman's cancelled.
There's a shock.
Nope, Raven just hit Sandman with a cane accidentally. We got a That's Incredible tombstone on Sandman, and it's over. I love that Raven wasn't worried at first, and then I was like, shit, I really didn't mean to hit him. Tell you what, not the greatest pay-per-view of all. Yeah,
Impact players stand
not the greatest
tall.
pay-per-view of all time. But Paul was trying to establish new people. You gotta give him credit there.
Mm-hmm. And look, like I said, not the greatest of all time, but I had some fun.
Look, the show closes with Raven or Incredible, Lance Storm and Rhino standing tall.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Baldies going over New Jack. We had Tanaka and Awesome
Great
going
three-way.
going out and making each other. Yeah, really good three-way. I mean, he's trying.
Taz did the duty.
Yeah, Taz put over RVD, so you really, like, you can't shit on Heyman for trying to get new people over.
Yeah.
Like, he's using Sandman and Raven to get over the new guys. Taz doing the job on the way out. Oh.
Grumpy Raven, not happy. Cool Taz is back. As we see the highlights of the show. Well, Lee, I suppose as we hit our closing montage, you kind of started talking about what you thought of the show there. Do you have any kind of, in a Days of Thunder vein, any winners and losers in particular?
Just as I'm watching the highlights here, the three-way, I think all three guys in that match really shone. I think Awesome and Tanaka, like I said, went out and kind of made each other in a way that they were just prone to doing. Mm-hmm. They just got over, like,
yeah.
And look, you don't have to like it, and not everybody did with the Impact players, because one of them was just incredible. But I've got to give Heyman credit. He tried to get new people over. He was giving them pushes.
Yeah. He was trying something. You can accuse old Paulie of a lot of things, but resting on his laurels is not one of them.
I think, like, you can see he's using the established stars, and I think over time you would have seen less of the ECW style brawling, and you might have got more kind of pure wrestling with Awesome, with Storm, with RVD involved. Yeah, you would have still had like Van Davenators and fucking table bumps here and there, but I think over time with the Sandman being lessened, with Raven probably not being around for too much longer, Tommy Dreamer probably taking a smaller role. Like if the money was there and the company stuck around, I think it would have evolved naturally.
Yeah, and I think what you're seeing here is like what would continue to be an established Heyman booking pattern, which is like, we're going to pick like a large number of people that I'm going to try push all at once, because not everybody you push is going to get over. So let's push twice as many people over, so that whoever actually gets over, we stick with them and we bail out on whoever doesn't.
Look, you have to give him credit. Tajiri, Super Crazy, both got big TV title runs in 2000. Just incredible. Steve Corino, both get world title runs. Jerry Lynn gets a world title run. So yeah, he absolutely tried stuff. Like you said, it didn't all stick, but absolutely by the end of the company in 2001, when Heyman knew it just wasn't going to get better, he was checked out. But at this point, he's still trying.
Yeah. Which is admirable, to be fair, because it can't have been.
No, at this stage they're coming towards the end of the TNN run, and he. Well, hang on, wasn't the TNN run from? Was it August '99? Or was it August '98 that they started on TNN? Because when was the Raw change? Was that 2000 or 99 they changed to TNN?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think TNN was 2000 for Raw. I think it was like September 2000. So there was still a bit of time left on TNN.
Yeah. 9 or 10 months.
He is trying. And like, look, Rhino ends up being the biggest star in the company. And look where he is. This was his first pay-per-view main event.
Yeah.
So credit where it's due on that one.
Yeah. They're having a go, But anyway, that's going to do it for another TRL. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another, and in the meantime, you can join us next week over at patreon.com/WCW Thunderpod, where we are doing another Days of Thunder at the movies. And given the nominees that are going to be up for a vote, I'm quite excited. We won't have, I think by the time this airs, we won't have a winner just yet, so I can't announce what it's going to be. But keep an eye to at WCW Thunderpod on Twitter, and we'll let you know what you're missing out on if you haven't joined the growing masses on the ever-growing Patreon
masses.
Indeed. Right, this has been a TRL special. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for listening to another episode of Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder was produced by Lee Malone and edited by me, Dave Ryan.
Keep up to date with the show and find all the ways to listen to us. You can follow us on Twitter at WCW Thunderpod or click the Linktree link in our Twitter bio or in the show notes. I am at the Day to Dave on Twitter and Lee is at Malone_713. Days of Thunder is a part of the Voices of Wrestling podcast network. Follow the VOW network anywhere good podcasts are sold for more fine podcasts than you can shake a stick at. Thanks.
I can hear the